Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Well, another productive week has come along, and all I'm pointing out in here in the greenhouse is that some of these little avocados are starting to put on branches to some extent, and they're growing into, well, trees, sort of. It'll be a booger to get out of here, to be honest with you. They'll be pretty challenging. Some of them are going to probably be so big that I'll have to use gentle cloth bindings to get them out without breaking them. Because unfortunately avocado trees are very fragile, especially while they're young. We shall see. The old avocado tree over here is more fragile because it's not getting enough nutrients, and therefore it's still very pale green. And then also getting that all these various grapefruit trees is going to be pretty troublesome too. So I'm almost ready to plant however many of those remaining spudlets over there might be, because the outside ones are about done. So the theory is maybe get a fall crop of them. This little thing is still growing, still looks happy. Tiny little leaves, but it's alive, so hey, you know, something's better than nothing at this point. You know, this thing was looking totally dead the other day, but apparently it's such a succulent that it has the little one there. This one's gotten a little bigger, but the little one was shriveled up and now it's not, so that's pretty neat. They apparently have a good drought survival. This yellow, I forget what this stuff's called. It's actually rooting, it's rooting across the pot from one to another. They'll do that. So then we've got the white one over there, or unvariegated. I guess that's just unvariegated. Mom's got a purple pink one in the house, but I won't film it because of the audio problems with get music that'll potentially give me trouble. This thing is putting on babies, so I'm hoping to get back into having a large number of new aloe vera soon. I think this too this is a form of wandering Jew. Not quite for sure. If it is, it's a long spindly one, which is fine. I mean, variety is variety. And then this is another form of mother-in-law's tongue, but more color and stuff. I think it's got a different name. I forget what it is, but they're toxic to dogs and cats for a fact. This little critter here is continuing to grow. So, some little form of cactus there, whatever that says. And then Mom's been having varied effects with various African violets, other cactus, and more parent plants, or whatever they're called. That one looks like nobody's been watering it and it's dying over here. Needs some more water. It's about to just dribble up and quit. I don't know if somebody decided to kill it or what. Either way. No, you know. And then she got that little variegated wandering Jew that's really spindly, but really got some strong variegation to it. And it's doing pretty good. So it's really hit and miss. Again, I don't want to go in there and get in the sound of the radio and make an audio fallback, but you know, it is what it is. Now, right up here, on the big vine upstairs, or I say whatever, if it's big or not, this one is doing wonderful. It's set a large amount of fruit. Not 100%. I mean, there's places where you can see that not every single flower set. This one, a large number of them set. And so, you know, how many grapes I get this year mostly depends on how many I pick, since I've not always harvested the whole batch for the year. However, if you wonder why I push that over, it's so that hopefully the goats can't reach them. Chestnut, she's doing a little better. She's still kind of scrawny. She's a real lover. She just wants a lot of attention. Since Walnut's gone, at least she only has one baby to feed. But Cashew over there is doing pretty decent, I think. Yes, Chestnut. Yes. Most of the animals are doing pretty good. We've been getting a decent amount of rain. Some of these dayflowers are out. One thing about coming out this early in the morning, see, there's a bunch of them over there enjoying the sun, the babies. The dayflowers come out early enough in the morning that I'm usually not up before they are open. But I'm usually early to be out this morning because I just kind of, it's a beautiful day and it's going to be hot and sweaty later. Now, look at that. It ain't done. It ain't nowhere near done. But I got my stairs partly dropped in. It's a lot of work for me, especially with spinal arthritis and everything. So I got these little anchor plates that are adjustable. Believe it or not, those are repurposed off of some steel bed frames. That's what their original force of life was, steel bed frames. But I drilled holes in them, and these holes right here, that hole right there, were drilled for an anchor bolt that'll go into the concrete. These holes were slots that are just widened enough for a 5/16 bolt to go through with washers. Everything else is just deck screws and water covered timber. It's far from done, and it wiggles a lot. I don't know if I can make it show that it wiggles, but when I stand on it, it wiggles a lot, but I don't know if it's as evident. It's not, none of these are even screwed down. They're sitting there right now. So if you see them tilt under my foot, that's because it's got a lot of work left to do to it. There we go. Some of these, they're just sitting there. This piece is just sitting there too. It's got a lot of work left to do, but it's on its way. It'll look pretty good, I hope, when I'm done. There's all these babies sitting over here just enjoying the sun. They'll hide from it later in the day. Because the rain kept washing the 7 dust off of my various broccoli and cauliflower, they got eaten up pretty bad. Stand this tiger lily up a little bit. So they got really badly chewed up by the worms and stuff, and so they're not doing well. But hopefully they'll at least make some seeds that we can use for later on. Some of them are making nice heads. Again, the 2 on the far end are cauliflower rather than broccoli, and they're not doing great, but they're doing. And then now one of the cucumbers is finally taken off and starting to put on flowers. It's getting along. And there's one with putting on flowers, and it's wrapped around the string all by itself. If we only, and then there's one here. Here's one. I was hoping to have more cucumbers this year. You know, people say, yeah, well, you didn't. Well, the idea is you have enough that you can can and pickle and stuff. They're not very strong, not very robust. But once they get up, though, if they get up into this canopy, they'll become really strong. So hopefully they'll make some cucumbers at some point. I don't even remember when I started planting them last year. Seems they came in late. This thing has pretty nearly completely finished going to seed. And somebody said, yeah, well, all your seed's in that bucket. So like, here's some seed pods. Very few, but some. Well, but they'll all be there, and hopefully they'll germinate, and then I can do something with them once they're grown up a little bit. I want to make certain I get as many seeds of those as I can, because they make pretty tasty greens. Reaching right across, the ground cherries, they are making bank over there. They are just going to no end. There are all kinds of ground cherries in there. They're small, but there's dozens and dozens of them, so who knows if it'll make anything edible worth messing with or not. Probably just, once they get to the end of the year, just pick them all up by the roots, and or clip them off above the roots and just yank up and shell off all the fruit bodies off of them. Something got in here and ate the tops off some of them, looks like, here recently. Maybe I wasn't looking and something got in here. Or maybe it was something like a grasshopper. Uh-oh, I see a walnut coming up in there I gotta get rid of. Them things are invasive around here. See, there's another shot of the cauliflower, and it's looking pretty dismal. I gave it a shot, but it didn't shoot very well. Over here, the tiger lilies are not yet blooming. You know what? I just realized I'm still on close in. I think. Anyhow, we'll see. So the tiger lilies are doing alright. And the cauliflower is doing pathetic. And just, it's probably too hot for it anyhow. Looks like I'm going to end up losing my yellow raspberries. They've gotten too many drastic changes in watering, so it looks like they're just going to finally give up and die. I'm not for sure. This is the better looking one, and it looks pretty terrible. And this is the worst looking one, and it looks just really bad. The watermelons over here, got some vine on them. For not being planted in the ground, I think they're doing pretty good. Looks like something bit this off here recently. Different one tomatoes. And they need to be planted here pretty soon too. The potatoes are still technically green. I'm not sure if they're done with their year or not. I don't want to force them, because if I force them, I'll get less than optimal potatoes out of them. The bell peppers finally started setting fruit. So they were setting fruit kind of, but then they were casting it. And now, although one of them appears to have died over in the corner, the rest of them are going to town and really flowering and really fruiting. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of bell peppers. Tomatoes have been fruiting real well. So much so, and they were falling over, that I had to pick them up. This one here needs to be picked. Oh, something got into it. Look at that. Ah. Squirrels or something got in there and got on that one. Yeah, or birds, I don't know. It just turned ripe, and then now it's needing to be salvaged before it's all garbage. So I'll have to take that in, and I'm going to put this over here so that I can hopefully remember it. And you say, oh, you're putting a yucky thing on the clean paint of your car. Well, paint's tougher than that. I'm going to wash the thing on anyhow. So that one turned ripe and then started being eaten before I even knew it. Oh well, lesson learned, I guess. So this one's putting on fruit like crazy, and yes, unfortunately, I'm starting to get blossom end rot. How many? I don't know. Oops, crud, I knocked that one off and it wasn't damaged. Well, that was stupid of me. But anyhow, I need to get some more calcium so I can stop this blossom end rot problem. because otherwise I'll lose everything. I'll have made it all for nothing. That sucks. I really didn't want to break that off. The stems are kind of brittle there, and so they pop off. Oh, that's not good. Too late now, unfortunately. So, well, but on the other hand, if you leave them sitting there just with blossom end rot and they grow, all you end up with is the plant wastes energy on fruit that's not going to make it. I mean, plant doesn't care, but for people wanting to eat the stuff, it does matter. But it's hard to see, maybe, especially from now that I've bunched it up, but there are bundles and bundles of fruit in there. So hopefully I can get enough calcium in there to keep them from rotting. This thing has tried to put on flowers, but it has failed. Look at that little thing right there. There's one right there. They're all over it. And then they come along there and they try and then they fail. Now I gave it some more phosphorus like all the others, but it's still not doing very well. And I don't know if that's new plant damage or not. But it's just not making any fruit now for some reason. Strawberry plant over here is making another fruit. In fact, it's about ready to be picked, so I think I will. These are supposedly ever-bearing strawberries. Out of the 6 we've got 2 left. They can be really big, but right now, this batch is not. Let me just eat that one. Pretty decent. Those things haven't flowered or made any fruit at all down there. This berry plant did flower 1 or 2 bundles. See, here's a bundle that it flowered and fruited. And then over here, it's flowering again. But overall, it's doing pretty badly. It may not make it past the end of this year. It's hard to say because I don't know when it'll start putting up a new shoot. So I either catch the berries and try to replant them. Tried catching the berries before, and I don't know what I did with the seeds. The idea for me is to put seeds out somewhere and see if they'll sprout. Now, I say that the black raspberries aren't doing well. The wild blackberries, thorned blackberries, are doing better than that. Let me get down here. See, look at that. Already, just bundles of fat, juicy fruit. Yeah, they're doing great. In fact, I'm going to pick them right now, because if I don't, they'll be gone later. Because, well, that's just it. I'm not the only thing out here that likes blackberries. There's all sorts of stuff out here in the world that likes blackberries, especially birds. So that was one plant, just right there. They're not big giant plants like I've had in the past around here, but this batch is looking like it's going to get better. Mom don't like blackberries. She said too many seeds. Oh. The Rose of Sharon is starting to bloom finally. It'll be covered for several weeks once it's gotten taken off real well. It'll be loaded and covered with them. And the babies will try their best to devour the plant because it tastes good to them, because it's part of the cotton ochre plant family with the hyacinth, hibiscus. Yeah, I think it's hibiscus, yeah, not hyacinth flowers. So they'll be getting pruned on one side. but not on the other. So it'll get pretty flowered. The mimosas are in full bloom, but you can hardly see them except at certain angles. So I don't really pay attention to them a lot. Somehow, there are still a couple of mulberries on this thing. I'm going to grab one of those this morning. Most of them are gone. Don't ask me where they went. I'm pretty sure it's birds and squirrels. Another one. Wish I could get a whole tree full of them. Never can. Little varmints get them all instead. So we come out here into this expanding sea of yellow coneflowers. And then over on the far side there'll be the sunflowers. They're good to see them in the early morning sun where they're still brilliant. So we will come across here. This is the most floral thing we have all year. The deer are eating them right here. But over there, then you've got the sunflowers. Whatever variety of sunflower that is. All on that hill mixed with the coneflowers. So the coneflowers are everywhere. The sunflowers are up on that hill. And they make a large amount of yellow flowering all through this area here where the soil's disturbed. Here's where I'm hoping to see some yellow real soon. My squash are picking up with quite a bit of excitement and enthusiasm. I have to spread them all out into this area, move them out and give them more soil so they're not competing too much. But this oldest one that Mom had planted in the greenhouse, has flowers on it. So hopefully before long they'll be tough enough that I can safely start moving them apart, giving them more soil, clearing out. I'll just rip those plants out and the grasses and stuff, rip that out, rip the trees out and the vines, so that it's just the squash and the watermelons. So now that they've started to take off, only one of those, the oldest one, was planted elsewhere and transplanted because every other transplant managed to die. But these newer ones, even though they were planted right where they're at, are almost caught up, which just shows that pre-starting them isn't necessarily a good idea if you don't know what you're doing, which we don't. Unfortunately, nothing we can do about that. Well, today is a yellow flower themed day, even though there are hypothetically, white flowers. Most of them are yellow around here. In the meantime, apples are still going on. The groundhogs haven't raided us just yet. They're not the greatest apples. In fact, I'd say they're pretty lousy. But they're apples. And then it looks like I've got some fire blight going on. That sucks. Or just the fact they skinned the tree so much it died that I need to cut it off. In which case, it's just pruning. Hope it's just needing to be pruned and not fire blight, which would still need pruning, but for a much different reason. Well, the orange flowers are totally destroyed because the lilies over here got eaten, and the lilies over there seem to either gotten eaten or gotten finished blooming. So we're all still on yellow flowers. All the purple flowers over here seem to have been finished off. Of course, we've still got fleabane daisies, and we've got some Queen Anne's lace in there, but they're kind of almost. Oh, and there's a purple or violet flower. There's a couple of I guess wild petunias still flowering over here, and then these things could be considered powdery purple or violet. I don't know, whatever they are. But like I say, all the orange flowers got eaten. All the butterfly weed got devoured by the deer. Oh, this one looks like it might try to put on a new blossom, maybe sneak around and see when the deer aren't looking. Dog's bane being a white blossom, but the deer, no, something got it. I don't say the deer got it. I don't know. I think some kind of caterpillar or something got it. Coming over here, I'm going to intentionally make this a shorter video than usual. Because I just, pretty much the only thing that happened this week other than working on the stairs, which I just showed y'all there, what had happened, is just, reviewing flowers. But again, this is just a diary, so if nobody likes it, that's fine. It's for my own entertainment purposes and for my family. Here we go. Another yellow flower. This is gladiola that finally decided. It just came up this year. It may never flower again. And it should look a lot better soon. See if I can get an individual bloom. At first they could almost be mistaken for an iris until you look at the flower and how they flower and where they flower, and you're like, oh no, that's not an iris at all. There's the last bit of bee balm hanging on from flowering, and then it'll make fruit, seeds, and propagate. I don't know that I'm even going to bother trying to pick it this year. Didn't pick it last year, and I still got a lot of it left over. I think better just let it propagate. I don't know. And then of course the black-eyed Susans, which again are sort of part of the sunflower family. Now yes, there are some purple coneflowers downstairs and they look beautiful. They're just not worth it for me to walk down there for them because there's like 5 of them. It's like 5 coneflowers. Nah, I'm not gonna. The other gladiola, unfortunately over there, still didn't bloom. Whatever reason. It bloomed the one time early on. Tried blooming a second time recently. Didn't do a good job of it. Even though I tried adding extra water. So it hasn't bloomed this year, and it hasn't bloomed last year. And then these little gladiolas that almost don't even look like a gladiola aren't doing much either yet. Who knows though? Maybe they'll come along. It's hard to tell sometimes with some of these long spindly blades of grass how many of these are gladiolas and how much of this is just grass at first glance. So if you don't come right up to them, you can't tell what you're looking at, hardly. Looks like all the touch-me-nots are done blooming. The catalpa has finished flowering. And the catalpa worms, fancy that. Oh well, apparently they say leave them alone and then they nourish the tree. Okay, well, good deal. I ain't worried about it. Ain't like it's gonna kill it. That's it. That's unfortunately all the flowers we've had. That's all the work I've done. There's a few nearly finished bee balm flowers going off. Finishing up. And looks like the deer have been over here pruning this little oak tree. Not that I really care because it's not my property and it's just an oak tree scrub. But I did see a stray poppy the other day, but it wasn't up this morning when I went past, so no reason to photograph where it's already done its thing and gone away. So, and then of course there's those weird spindly looking white things, whatever they are, over here. Oh, there's some bee balm down in here. And some more, fall on my face, or on my butt. A couple more bee balm that haven't finished wilting. And then some more wild petunias, more bee balm. The bee balm should propagate pretty fast. This is that other thing that's, I don't know what it's called. It looks like it's finished flowering, put on seed heads. Very decorative looking though. I don't know what it's called, but it's here and it's visible. And it pops up most years apparently, whatever it is. So, yeah, and then of course the waxweeds will come on later on. And so too will we should have tons of waxweed, tons of asters. Waxweeds will be yellow. Aster will be kind of in the fall, pink and purple. Here's another one of them sunflowers that seems to have made it up here. Again, they're a really small seeded sunflower. They're not something you'd try to harvest food from unless they have a root like a sunchoke, aka Jerusalem artichoke, which obviously is neither from Jerusalem nor is it an artichoke, but anyhow. So that's pretty much everything. You know, hasn't been the greatest, hasn't been the worst, it's just been something so far. We got some good rain the other week, and hopefully we'll get some good rain in the next couple days, Yahweh willing. But that's about all I can mention. That's pretty much everything that's been done. It's just, I've built some stairwells a little further along. They're not done. They won't be for a while, since I'm a cripple. But they'll get done, Yahweh willing, before I die. So my mom doesn't have to fall in a hole. And then hopefully all the other plans that I have will come to fruition. We shall see. In the meantime, of course, hoping that you all have another blessed, prosperous week with peace and joy and good things coming. So we'll hopefully be able to say something to you next week if we're here to do so. So bye for now, and shalom and all that, and we will now cut up and eat a tomato before it's useless. And the others I'll just, I guess, go on to waste. Bye.